Hello, welcome to an all-new Marvel cast. Explosion X hub of all things Marvel. Place to talk about everything MCU and beyond, from Avengers and Defenders to Becky Barnes and Zada Shelton. My name's Ashley Hobley, the Explosion Network's resident watcher. Joining me today, Ultimate Kieran Marchant.
What was the inflection there in the start
It's
of
a
that?
question mark.
It's a right. Okay, that's you know what. Fair enough. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another whatever this is watch along podcast.
Yep.
Thing.
Cool.
That's it.
Also joining us, Dylan Blight.
I'm glad you called it that, because I remember the last time I did that in the podcast, did a like thing. Everyone like called me out, and it was a whole thing for like 5 minutes. I was like, "Why do you get to do it?" What if?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for. This.
I'm the Watcher. Yeah.
You're no Jeffrey Wright, so no, actually, you can't be the Watcher.
I'm the Explosion X resident watcher, though.
Damn.
I watch more stuff than him. So, gotcha there. Alright, so today we're talking about the first episode. What if Captain Carter were the first Avenger? Directed by Bryan Andrews, written by A.C. Bradley. What would have happened if Peggy Carter and not Steve Rogers took this super soldier serum at the start of World War II? Kieran, what did you think of the episode?
I don't know. I didn't love it. I was a bit lukewarm on it. I think Captain Carter was probably maybe out of the stories that we know are coming out of this, was maybe one of the least excited I was for it. But I just think that there felt something like the pacing was a little bit off, or some of the changes they made to the storyline and timeline of the first Avenger to make certain changes appear in this what if universe just didn't exactly click with me. I really liked the animation style. Some of the voice acting was good, but at the same time, I was like, it was a little hit and miss in sections. But I think it's a solid start. I hope to look forward to see how it goes through, especially with, it's been rumored that Captain Carter is kind of like the kind of through point for a lot of these stories.
She stated that she's a recurring character. So, yeah. Dylan.
Yeah, it was fine, I guess. I think I've got like several breakdown points of it, which is that it's very simple what if scenario, which I guess works for the first episode. Like, it's very much like, she decides to stay in the room, blah, 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 blah. And now it's just solely a thing of like switching places. Like, it's not mega change in everything. It's just, Steve's still there. It's not like Steve died or anything. It feels like it doesn't feel as big of a like what if scenarios we may have, which I guess works for the first episode. I thought Hayley Atwell was really, really good. I'm looking forward to seeing more Hayley Atwell. I love Peggy, and it's like, why we got Agent Carter cancelled. Come on, what are you doing over there? Bloody hell, ABC. It was only Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was shit, and they cancelled the good one. Come on, get the hell out of here. Another thing that was weird about this is, and I'm sure this will come up as we keep going, I thought she did a really good job voice acting her, like returning to that character, and I thought basically everyone else sucked. Other than the voice actor, what's his name? Josh Keaton. Right, so Josh Keaton does Steve, and he does a really good Chris Evans impersonation. He lands that same sort of like heroic, warm tone that Chris Evans does doing that role. And I thought everyone else returning, Dominic, Sebastian, Stan, whoever else, all those people returning to play their roles, it really, to me, sounded like they were rushed into a room, given like an hour, and like gun to head, you need to say these lines quickly, and it all sounded off to me. Could not vibe with it at all. And I think this is one of those big things of, hey, what's the main difference between like a voice actor and like a quote unquote proper actor or live action actor or whatever it is? And it's like, well, there's reasons some people are good at one or the other, and some people are good at both. And it's because they require different sorts of like ability and training or what have you. And everyone else sucked. They were not good. Didn't like it. And that was like a big turn off point for me. I think the story is also just too like nostalgia, replaying sort of the same beats from the movie, this sort of stuff. It doesn't really, and you've only got like 23 minutes or whatever. It's just a lot of it's just sort of retreading, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right, let's just get through the start, and then let's get to just seeing Captain Carter shit, and not like this whole like sort of. There's so many moments in this episode where it's like, oh, here's that shot redone, or here's this moment redone, and nostalgia, wank, wank, wank. Fucking good on you. And then also the animation style, and I guess this is something I just have to accept go forward. I thought the animation was just very bland. Like I was very much like, and it's like a mix of like, I guess some stuff was like 2D-ish and other stuff was like 3D action stuff or whatever. But then I was just like, it all just seems very, like it's not bad. But for, I guess maybe because it's MCU, it's Marvel, it's on Disney Plus, I was like expecting something just a lot bigger. And I was like, it's okay. Put this on Cartoon Network, I guess. Like, it just feels rather.
I feel like
okay.
tonally, it kind of struggled to straddle the line between being included in the MCU, but at the same time being a cartoon. Like there were moments where it was very cartoony. Like I think the Saw moment that sticks out for me is Peggy and Steve having their moment, and then the whole section just after it with Howard outside the window. That's just very kind of. I don't know, awkward and just doesn't quite hit the mark that they're expecting with it. And just kind of very out of the blue, like, hey, Bucky stole a Jeep. It's like, what? Why? What are we? What? Like, what's going on here? Like,
they're in the middle of Germany. I don't know. Then maybe they never state where they are. So, yeah, like you guys, it's a solid opening. I don't think it's like fantastic. I enjoy it. I like the animation style, but yeah, obviously there are some moments that are better than others. I think it shines probably more when during the action sequences. Particularly there are three main ones, but the one that I really liked was the one in obviously all the airplanes. I thought that looked really cool. Good. And it's really cool that they found a way to integrate Steve still with the Hydra Smasher Iron Man suit. Powered by the Tesseract. Kind of genius. But yeah, all the fight scenes I thought were really good and made Peggy look awesome. Especially that opening one. When she's beating up a bunch of German soldiers. Effectively for first time.
When she like breaks the leg of the one that's like calling her a Fraulein, and she just goes low and like punches it in the freaking shin, and it's like, holy crap, okay. Sure, you can't do this stuff in live action, but it's a cartoon, so it's okay.
Oh yeah, so many people died in this. Like it's just like explosions everywhere. As for I didn't mind that they like obviously went back and like hit certain beats. I didn't think they did it too well. It's probably like, again, it's 23 minutes, so maybe it feels like there was more than there was. But obviously, like the train and breaking Bucky out, and
it was odd that they had done something. Like the interesting part where I was like, "Wow, this is actually really interesting," is them getting their hands on the Tesseract so early, like kind of them getting the Tesseract, and I was like, "Damn, that's really cool." That now changes this story because Red Skull doesn't have the Tesseract to do half of the stuff he does and kind of build to the point he does in the first Avenger, and then. At the same time, it feels like, okay, we've split it off, but now we're going to try and cram it back into the same story beats as the first Avenger and hit the train section, which, the train section
has a different purpose this time. The train's there purely as a trap to get Hydra Smasher.
To get the Hydra Smasher to do it, which is like, okay, yeah, sure, but I feel like it would have been... I think it would have done, maybe for me, it would have done more for Peggy and Captain Carter if they had once she had, like, they had differentiated the timeline for her and Captain America, she didn't feel like we needed to continue to walk the same beats as the Captain America storyline. So that the what if kind of becomes a what if. It's not just, hey, no matter who took this serum at this point, they're going to be going through these same story beats.
I mean, whoever took the serum, they're always going to never have their dance. It's very sad. Fated to never be together. Properly.
Damn.
I mean, that's like what would you call it? Inter-universal true love. I don't know. Something like that.
Just destiny and fate. I don't know. I didn't see giant tentacle monster. I wasn't expecting that. I don't think anybody would have expected that. I appreciated they went with a completely different plan for the Red Skull at the end. Like, had different goals, I guess. But that's also because Zola got taken out early in the piece as well. So, he wasn't there to design all the weapons, which were such a big thing in the film.
Do you reckon if in that What If universe, does the integration of Hydra into S.H.I.E.L.D. happen still, do you think? Because Zola's still technically in capture at the same point, so it's not too different from that standpoint.
Maybe.
But does Peggy even... Well, Peggy... I guess Steve is now in charge of creating S.H.I.E.L.D. in that world.
You would assume so.
Yeah.
If he even creates S.H.I.E.L.D. It might not even be called S.H.I.E.L.D. It might be something else. Similar but different.
Do you think then next episode, instead of just immediately jumping to a new storyline, we're going to jump into a present day world?
Well, we know what next episode is. It's T'Challa is...
Oh, it's T'Challa and the Ravagers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I did not read that, so that's good.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see when and how they're going to put this through line that they're teasing, at least outside of the actual series.
Well, I mean, so I think there's barely anything. There really isn't nothing to talk about when it comes to the Watcher and all that sort of stuff. It's like, he introduces the show and ends. It's like big whoop. There's really nothing there to discuss. There's like no story or whatever there. But I guess the other cool thing about watching this after Loki compared to when they originally announced it is you can now watch it and go, well, this is a thing. Like you could, if they wanted to, have Agent Carter crossover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's probably not going to happen, but you still, like, it is a possibility. We have now, after Loki, set open the multiverse thing. So, like, it feels more like the series feels part of the larger universe rather than when they originally announced it and it was just like, a bunch of, like, random what-if scenarios. It's not really connected to anything, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah, these are all variants. Now that you think
basically.
about it, yeah. So, yeah, that's cool. Any other notes on this?
For Jeffrey Wright as the Watcher, though, do you think this develops into his larger role within the MCU as the Watcher and as kind of taking on?
Do I think we're going to see him in live action? I don't know.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes to him.
Because I think this is a cool way to, even if you see this as like a way to build his character up and introduce the Watcher through to the kind of general public of the MCU, like to have his character, and then you're like, oh, you kind of understand who he is when he comes in later down the track of watching through everything.
I feel like if we're going to spend the next 10 years on multiverse stuff, if we don't see him play the Watcher once in live action, it would feel weird and a waste. Like, surely that's where we're at now. It's like we're not wrapping up this whole multiverse thing in the next couple of years. That's part of the whole next 10 years of the MCU, right? So, sure. Have him show up at least once. Have him show up in, like, Loki or whatever.
Yep. Potentially. Yeah, anything else? I thought it was kind of interesting. They, like, ended it kind of the same way. Except she doesn't get frozen ice. She gets somehow trapped in the Tesseract, I guess. She gets zapped through and brought out. But then also...
That's not how the Stargate portal works, by the way, everyone. If I've watched Stargate, that's not at all how that works.
Fucking hell. But at the same time, Hawkeye and Nick Fury knew who she was.
Yeah.
Like, they instantly knew that was Captain Carter.
It was obviously 7 years later. So
yeah.
Very cool. All right, let us know what you thought of What If Captain Carter were the first Avenger by letting us know on Twitter by going to explosion.com/Twitter. Or jump to our Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you like this episode and thought it was worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support and buy us a coffee. Or you can, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Podchaser, or let people know about all new Marvel casts by telling them about it. That always helps. Thank you very much for listening. Make sure you watch next week's episode of What If and join us next time for another all new Marvel cast.